Right, hello there. Good to see you. We're back for another one of these free sessions. So, my name's Anna Lundberg. I'm a business mentor and coach. And the intention behind these sessions is to give you a little piece, I suppose, of the puzzle. I've been asking my community, so if you're not already there, hello, by the way, if you're watching in the Facebook group or if you're on Instagram, I've been asking for topics that you'd like me to cover. And over the last few sessions, we looked at setting effective goals as a solopreneur. We have looked at building resilience the other week, and now we're looking at juggling the basically your business or side hustle, in particular in the fledgling phase when you're getting started with your day job. Because, and that's a whole other conversation, of course, the sensible thing to do if we're transitioning from working for an employer to working for ourselves, and most likely the thing we're going to do from a financial perspective, is to build that business up along the way alongside a day job. Now, that doesn't happen sometimes. And hello, good to see you watching live as well. I can see you on Instagram. Hopefully it's working this time and I won't cut you off. So a couple of reasons why you might not be doing that, of course. I mean, I very foolishly quit my job cold turkey in 2013, but I was single. I gave up my flat. I became a bit of a nomad for a while. I had no outgoings really, apart from the bare minimum. I had a lot of savings thanks to a very generous salary. I had no dependents, and so on and so on, right? So that was one reason to go all in with your business. Others might be forced into that situation by being made redundant, or it's a very toxic work environment and so you don't want to continue with that job. There are all these situations where you might choose to or be forced into going all in with your business from day one. If you have a big sort of safety net, lots of savings, a supportive partner, a generous inheritance, whatever that is, then yes, you have sort of the safety cushion to be free, to experiment, to explore, to be creative with your business. If, like most of us, we have pretty much immediate pressure to bring in money because we have dependents, big mortgage, whatever it is, maybe just high expectations of our standards of living these days, then we will need money coming in. So that could be via sort of a not so ideal consulting or working as an expert in an area where perhaps you don't want to be working longer term. That's one way to do it. Or again, you could be staying in your day job, ideally perhaps going down part-time, but certainly that would be sort of a continuous theme in your life. So that's what we're looking at today. How can you juggle your business with your day job? But I know that there were some requests and some questions around sort of managing your business alongside other responsibilities. So I'd like to think today's session will help you if you have unpaid day jobs as well. So if you are a parent, if you have caring responsibilities, and if there is or are other priorities in your life other than your business, because let's face it, that's probably the case for all of us, then hopefully today's session will be really valuable. If you are watching live, I'm trying to keep an eye on both Facebook and Instagram here. We're multitasking. If you're watching the recording as well, please feel free to ask questions and I'll come back and answer them later on if you're watching once I've put the video on YouTube as well, or watching, at some later point in the future. Hello to you as well. So let's get started and ask the question, why do we need to do this juggle? Now, to one extent, I've answered that because of a financial set of priorities. Maybe we don't even want to leave our job because actually we're enjoying it. We like it. We would miss the team if we let go of it entirely and so on. So there could be a necessity to continue from a financial perspective. There could be the desire to continue with that day job. So that's one piece of the puzzle. But the other question, which is a more philosophical question or more sort of practical even actually in the other direction, is why do we need to get this juggle right? And I think there are a few things that can happen if we don't get that juggle right. And maybe that's why you're here today. And you might burn out because you're pushing yourself too much everywhere. You're trying to be an excellent employee and a parent and a partner and whatever else, and keep fit and whatever else you want to do. Maybe sometimes watch some TV, learn a language, whatever your priorities in life are. Travel the world, see your family, learn something new and so on. You're trying to do that while also building a business, right? And so if you're trying to do all these things, there's pressure, there's stress, there's excitement, it's not all negative. The risk is that you'll burn out. So that's sort of a physical, mental well-being lens why you want to be getting this right. Then the other sort of extremes, I suppose, of getting it wrong is that you'll get, and you may know if you know me that I don't like this phrase, but the work-life balance, you might get that wrong. The reason why I don't like it is that it's sort of this picture that I'm doing with my hands as well, this image of the scales going up and down on one side implies that more life means less work. So it might be that the dichotomy for you in the context of what we're talking about today is more focus on your side hustle means less focus on your work, your day job. And certainly some employers might be afraid of that, right? We're not even talking about, conflicts of interest and that kind of thing. But even the most well-meaning, supportive employers will expect you to, and you should expect yourself to as well, continue to deliver in your day job while you're delivering your business. So again, the thing that goes wrong with that balance, if we're going to use that set of scales as a metaphor, is that if you focus too much on the business, I'm so excited, I really want to get this to work, and I'm going to be calling people and writing posts and going live and working on my book and whatever else, doing a course to be a better coach, then perhaps your day job will suffer. In the other direction, if you neglect the business and focus too much on what we're calling the day job, then you'll never get out of this situation. So if your long-term plan is to transition into working for yourself, hate to break it to you, but that won't then happen if you're not doing enough. I'm all for little steps, but there is a certain amount of work that has to happen in order to build your credibility, your brand, your client pipeline, and so on, in order to be able to make that change. So if you're focusing on one or the other too much or too little, that's not going to help. So anyone else want to share things that have been going wrong or perhaps could go wrong, then let me know. But I'll move on now to a more positive, practical framework, which again is coming at this from quite a high level perspective. So maybe this is a little different to what you were expecting, but it's really looking at, okay, how can we focus on what really matters? And I think traditionally, and let me just switch the screen so you can see my note in front of me. Traditionally, of course, we're focusing on, hopefully you can see that, and it's big enough on your little screen if you're watching, time. The traditional productivity gurus and hacks and books are all around time management. I'm seeing it appear a few seconds later on my Instagram screen, which is great. So good that it's working at least. But we're focusing only on time. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be focusing on time, but what I am saying is it's only one piece of the puzzle. An hour in the morning for me, pre-kids waking up, is very different than an hour after the kids have gone to bed. Right now, the difference is, if I'm lucky to be able to get up before the kids are up, I'm actually more focused in the morning. But having said that, I quite like to have a cup of tea, do a bit of Wordle or New York Times connections. I do my Spanish, I prepare my breakfast. I have the desire to write and do that kind of thing in the morning, but I'm not quite there. In the evening, though, at the moment for me, I am so tired. So evening is even worse, right? So if I wanted to get up and do journaling or writing, for me, it'd be morning first thing. But an hour of unit of time in the morning is not the same as the evening, right? 20 minutes at your most productive, you're in flow, you're focused, you know exactly what you're doing, is not the same as 20 minutes when you know you've got to shut down your computer because you're running out to pick the kids up from school and So time, yes, great, but it's not the whole picture. So I want you to, my battery for my pen is running out, so I might have to start using my fingers in a minute. We'll see how that goes. The other side is energy. So it's not just your time, but your energy. I mentioned if I'm high energy, low energy, it's not that simplistic. But, if you haven't slept, if you're unwell, then that has a huge impact. And the third bubble I'd like you to think about is your attention. So the classic is the shiny object syndrome, distractions. Where are you actually focusing your attention in that time? Where are you directing your energy to be really effective? So it's not just about, oh yes, these are all the tasks you should be doing, squeeze these in during your week and ta-da, you'll have a business. You really need to be super careful about also managing your energy, also so that this is a positive thing that you'll continue enjoying and where your attention is going. So I want to double click on this a little bit and give you 3 more practical steps I want you to think about. And this might seem really simple, but I promise you that if we can execute these, I think we'll be in such a better place. And the first one is to really prioritize. And I talk about this all the time, but to prioritize, priority apparently comes from the Old English, Latin, French, whatever, that was prioritas, maybe, let's say, and it was one thing. And we've since, had hundreds of priorities, and colleagues from my old work will remember that everything was priority one on our work plan, which of course means that nothing is a priority. So a couple of lenses here, and if you're familiar with my work, I have the 5Ls framework, which gives you 5 different areas to consider in your life as a whole. So it's the live, love, learn, lead, laugh. It's thinking about your health and well-being, your relationships, your development and growth, your learning, your career and the impact you're making, and the fun, hobbies, spontaneity, all the other good stuff in your life, right? So really get clear on that big picture of your priorities. Through the lens, again, of day job versus business, if right now your day job is bringing in the big bucks that are paying your bills, then probably that is your number one priority. It's really tough to say that, but that's the reality, and it's far better to acknowledge that, right now I've got a big project on at work and I just don't quite have the time or energy to focus my attention on my business right now, and you might have to pull back a little bit. What you don't want is for that to happen longer term, and if that's the case, you might want to look at going down to part-time or finding an alternative, but it's okay if your priority right now is your day job. Coming back to the idea of caring responsibilities, I'd like to think that that is what really matters. Our health, that of our family, children, aging parents, a partner, whatever that is. And so that's probably your priority too. So really being clear on what's important. Now, the second level of priorities is within your business. You need to know, when you have that hour of time to focus on your business, where are you going to focus your attention? So what are the priorities? Right now, it's about being visible, getting myself in front of new people. So I'm going to go live, I've got 20 minutes now to go live on Instagram and in my Facebook group or whatever. I'm going to write a short post on LinkedIn. I'm going to message 5 people in my target audience. I'm going to send an email. Is it visibility? Is it reconnecting with people you've had calls with in the past? Probably income is going to be a priority, in which case it's more about those conversations, nurturing, getting to the next step of the sale. So being really clear on what your priorities within the business are, super, super critical. The second piece, apart from prioritization then, is planning. So I'm a huge fan of time blocking, really looking at your calendar, in particular if you have a day job, thinking about, okay, where am I going to work on this business, right? Is it that hour commute on the way to work? Maybe you're working from home, so you don't have these commute distances anymore. I like to listen to a podcast when I'm at the gym, but then some more like creative thinking work needs to happen at my desk. So really think about, how can you plan your week so that you're using your time and your energy effectively? Is it, as I'm trying to do, setting the alarm before the kids wake up? Are you a night owl and you can work really well in the evening? Our evenings tend to be, I'm going to be honest, Netflix or Amazon Prime, whatever. Recently, I've been trying to use that differently. Certainly, I've been going to the gym. I've had racquetball coaching, and that kind of thing is always great. But of course, if you have a course that you're doing, maybe that class is in the evening, or you can work on that in the evening. I've also been interviewing my dad for a sort of a memoir project, which has been amazing, which I've done in the evening too. So even when you're tired, maybe there is a way to use that time productively, effectively. So think about how you can plan your week to get the big chunks of work done, but also be really clever with using that time. I have so many ideas when I'm running, when I'm in the shower. It doesn't have to be standing at the desk, and often it isn't standing at your desk staring at the computer. So planning, and of course being flexible, but just like me planning my exercise every week, if I can see, unfortunately it rained yesterday, it rained today, so I've not been able to do my run, but maybe I see that weather forecast, and so I choose instead to do a home gym workout, and then I'll do the run tomorrow afternoon instead because the weather's looking better. In the same way, if you were going to work on your business on Tuesday, but your boss has asked you to come in that day, can you juggle things, rejig your calendar to work on that later in the week? So planning really intentionally. And then finally, Protecting your time. And this is really about valuing yourself and your priorities and really putting those boundaries, learning to say no to the wrong things that aren't priorities, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and to say maybe no, but I can do it later, or yes, but this is how we're going to do it on my terms, right? If it's not a priority to you, how can you protect that time? And if you have that 1 hour carved out in the week, in the evening, whatever, tell your partner, get an accountability buddy, communicate it, even if you can, to your boss and to your colleagues, you're not available at this time, block your calendar, sign out of your notifications. Protecting also means, in my case, if I know I'm not going to sleep very well potentially, then I'll go to bed earlier. Or, do you need an eye mask and earplugs, whatever that looks like, right? So prioritizing your time and attention on the things that really matter, both from the big picture and then within your business. What are the tasks you should be doing? Is it visibility, getting in front of people? Is it the income, sales-based tasks, and so on? Then planning proactively your week, knowing your general energy patterns and rhythms and so on. How can you fit in the tasks and projects you want to fit in, and then protecting that time, saying no to other people. And this sounds all well and good, and again, I'll keep an eye on if you have questions while I'm still live here. That sounds all hunky-dory. The reality is we don't operate in a vacuum. So what's happening, of course, is we're getting bombarded by people coming to us with new ideas, requests, concerns, tasks, and so on, projects that are landing on our plate at work or at home, and general just noise and external distractions. So what you're going to want to do, using all these colors here, is have some kind of a filter to help you only take on the things that are in your priorities, that are important to you, that are urgent enough to do now, and if not, then put them on the calendar for later, and that absolutely you have to do. If at all possible, if you can delegate it, whether it's something in your personal life like childcare or cleaning, or if it is at work, if you have someone on your team you can delegate to. But really filtering all of that external input coming at you and being a little bit harsh, unfortunately. Maybe right now, if you're trying to build your business alongside a full-time job and manage a family and be healthy and so on, maybe now is not the time to also run an ultra marathon or to also volunteer in your school parent-teacher association and so on, right? That's what I'm really trying to steer clear of. But I've tentatively joined a few ad hoc things, so I can really support and be present, but it's not necessarily going to be something that then could potentially become a full-time job. So you have to make some difficult choices. And then on the other side, unfortunately, and this is just general sort of productivity, we have all the internal stuff going on. We might have shiny object syndrome. I've got this idea, I'm going to write this book instead, I'm going to launch that business, I'm going to work on this. And we might have self-doubt and fear. Am I good enough? I'm too nervous about sort of going live, so I'm just going to do this other easier thing, like check my email instead, or I should really pick up the phone or send a message to that contact, but I'm worried and so on, so I don't do it. And then, of course, stress. Again, if too much is going on, then that's really going to have a negative impact on all of those things, our time, energy, and attention. So on this side, we're going to need to try to find a way to focus. And that could be that we need, if we don't know how to do something, that we need support working with an expert who can help you with that. If you don't want to do something, if you're not feeling very motivated, how can you really tap into your why and connect the particular task with that bigger picture? You might find sales really uncomfortable, but knowing that selling your services to companies or individuals is going to get you an income, which is going to allow you to pursue your passion projects, travel the world, live your best life, then, how can you make that more meaningful as well? So coming back to the beginning, this is about juggling your fledgling business with everything else, let's be honest, that matters in your life. That means that you're managing not just your time, but you're managing your energy and your attention. If you don't do that, you might burn out if you're pushing yourself in too many directions, or you might either fail in your day job, which is not great if that's what's bringing in your income, or fail in your business. Now, it's not quite that black and white. Of course, you could find another job. Of course, you could, continue the business. It's just going to take a bit longer. But nonetheless, we just need to sort of delicately tread that balance, right? So time, energy, and attention. And then we want to be really intentional and proactive about being clear on what matters in my life right now. Big picture perspective. Where can I compromise? Where can I maybe sort of take my foot off the pedal, as it were, and where do I really want to lean in? What really matters? What are my focus areas, big picture, as well as in the business? Where should I be putting my time and energy? How can I intentionally plan and craft that kind of week structure rhythm? There'll still be flexibility, things will move around, but how can we look at that every week to be proactive and not just let the sort of, we're already February now, 2024, just let that time kind of run away with us, and then a year from now, you'll be in the exact same situation as you are now because you haven't actually moved forwards. And then protecting that time. It's all well and good to put these time blocks in your calendar, but if you allow people who aren't important to you or projects that aren't part of your priorities to kind of infiltrate that, that's going to, again, lead to stress and burnout. And then on the other side, you've got all this internal noise going on. How can you really help yourself focus with an environment, with a support structure that's going to help you move forwards? And just finally, before I close, a couple of pieces on mindset, which of course is always huge. So lots of strategies and prioritizing and planning, and this is all really important. But a couple of things. The first is compassion. If, again, you are juggling, and I keep giving the most obvious examples, but please apply this to your situation. Apologies for not speaking to the exact conditions of your situation. But if you are juggling the job, the side hustle, business, even sometimes multiple businesses, caring responsibilities, children, health issues, and so on, please, please, please show yourself the compassion that you would show to someone in your team, a friend, a family member. Be compassionate with yourself. That is just, almost above and beyond everything else we've talked about. And the second thing related to that is be in it for the long haul. Yes, of course, I get quite jealous, I'm going to be honest, when I see colleagues who don't have children, who don't get migraines where they push themselves too much, whatever it is, who are just, they have an idea and then the next day, before you know it, they've got a website up and they've created a, white paper and a brochure and they've done this, they've done that. I was like that. I sound really old now. I was like that 10 years ago when I started. I'm not like that now. I just don't have that time and energy, or even attention, in fact, to do that. So it's really easy to look at other people and go, oh, I wish I could do that. But I know I'm in it for the long haul. So my new ideas and ambitions I'm having now, they will take a bit longer because of my whole philosophy of living this balanced life, going for sea dips and runs and playing tennis in the morning. And I've just been at this working party at the school, and this afternoon I'm volunteering at my daughter's disco. I want to do those things. So I then have to acknowledge that some things will take a bit of a backseat or they'll take a bit longer. So please, 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 compassion and long-term mindset. Hi, really good to see you. So I'm just finishing now. This will be uploaded to the Instagram Reels section. In fact, I can only upload a minute and a half, so you'll then need to go to YouTube to find the full video. It'll be pinned here in the Facebook group as well, and I'll be sending it out. If you're on my email list, you'll be getting that too. So I hope that was interesting. It's a model that it's quite sort of hot off the press for me. It will be appearing in more of my work going forwards. But I'd love to hear your questions, comments, feedback, and of course anything that I didn't answer today. And perhaps it was a slightly different session to what you expected, but I hope it's given you plenty to think about. So wishing you all the best with managing your business and everything else that matters in your life. Let me know if there are other topics you'd like me to cover. Next week is half term, so I'll be off in cold Sweden, but I'll be back the following week. So just let me know if there are topics you'd like me to cover here or on the podcast. Really good to see you. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and best of luck with managing your time, your energy, and your attention. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.